Black Americans have worked too hard and contributed too much to the United States to continue being treated like second class citizens, and it's primarily a money issue now. In the next 10 minutes or so, I will explain why every Black American needs $1 million life insurance policy. This September, it makes 5 years since my sister passed away from cancer. She left 5 kids with no plan and had no insurance. We even had to raise a GoFundMe to pay for her funeral costs. She didn't know what she didn't know. Like many Black Americans, they don't know. And this inspired me to get my life insurance license because I wanted to help as many families as possible prevent having to feel like that. My sister didn't know that having $1 million policy is likely to decrease the amount of non-natural deaths experienced in the Black community and increase the quality of life our people have. Speaking of quality of life, how would you treat yourself if you knew you were worth $1 million? You're less likely to overconsume salt and sugar, knowing that diabetes and high blood pressure over impact the Black community. You are less likely to commit to a habit like being a smoker. You're more likely to work out more often and spend more time with healthier hobbies like gardening in a way that decreases dependency on chemical ridden food from the grocery store. And you're more likely to have other hobbies that require you to spend less time in front of screens and more time out living your life. Black people would not be as stressed out about dying and being a burden on their families if they had $1 million life insurance policies. So they will value how they spend their time living, like picking jobs that make them excited about working. Also, the school to jail pipeline is likely to deteriorate if more people who are Black started homeschooling. Like, especially now, given that there are more opportunities to work from home, doing what you love to do, and there is a better opportunity for you to educate your child the way you want to educate them, and having more resources online, especially after the pandemic and having all of these school shootings, more families are feeling less safe sending their kids to public school. What's the school to jail pipeline? Oh, well, that is how in predominantly Black and brown neighborhoods, the schools are set up and they're fenced in, they're dimly lit, the food quality is even poorer, and the quality of the materials they get is generally lower than their white counterparts. And the teacher to student ratio is quite higher than the white counterparts. After all, no one should be required to raise their hand every time they have to go to the bathroom. No one should be required to sit for hours on end listening to boring stuff. No one should have to be required to read books written by people who hate them. Non-natural causes of death in the Black community have, for example, the Black on Black crime rate. That's one thing that people love to bring up when they're talking about stuff like this, is the Black on Black crime rate, which would likely decrease if more Black people had $1 million life insurance policies. Like, for example, if a Black person killed another Black person and they both had $1 million life insurance policies, the one who killed them is not likely to get or their family is not likely to get a payout if they get killed in the process of committing a crime. And I don't know many Black people, let alone people in general, who will give someone they don't like, their family, $1 million and rob their own family from the opportunity to have $1 million in the process. So having $1 million life insurance policy is less likely to make you a menace to society. It's more likely to help you value your life and the people around and the lives of the people around you. Also, if someone has been wrongfully convicted or they are on death row and they're a Black person, having family members with $1 million life insurance policies help them to be able to borrow against their policies to get a quality lawyer, not just a public defender. I believe that more Black families would do what it takes to take care of the mental health of their family members, specifically those little girls who have been, or little boys who have been touched by those family members in inappropriate ways and have caused mental issues for that person to experience for the rest of their lives. I believe those situations will get nipped in the bud instead of being brushed under a rug, because families would care more if they are not likely to get that $1 million because that person committed suicide, especially within the first 2 years of having that policy. And this would get them justice, but also it will help boost the overall mental stability in the Black community. Most importantly, racist acts from police officers unjustly killing unarmed Black people in their homes, neighborhoods, and not committing crimes, especially if they're the one who called them for help, are less likely to happen if there are more Black people with $1 million life insurance policies. Worst case scenario, a Black family could be petty. If a police officer killed their family member who happened to have $1 million life insurance policy, upon payout, that family could go and purchase property in that police officer's neighborhood. Well, I don't know if you know this, but one thing that racists hate more than Black people is Black people with a lot of money. Speaking of a lot of money, more Black people having $1 million life insurance policies will decrease the wealth gap. In Jay-Z and Beyonce's song, Boss, they said, "Over here we measure success by how many people are successful next to you." They said, what did they say after that? Oh, you're broke if everyone is broke except for you. And those words resonated with me, because I believe that if more Black people had $1 million life insurance policies, they would shift their perspective from being an individualist person in a family to collectively working as a family to achieve collective goals. So I believe that that is one way that having $1 million life insurance policies can decrease the wealth gap, but also using the right vehicle, such as a living trust, can help family members who own the policies set the rules that the surviving family members have to live by. Like, one rule could be that this person gets X amount only to purchase a real estate asset or a cash flowing asset or a cash flowing business. That way it will generate more income and decrease their likeliness to commit crimes for no reason, or not no reason, but to commit crimes just to survive and feed their families. So another thing that would help is being able to borrow against large life insurance policy amounts and buying those businesses, but also purchasing other assets before someone dies. And purchasing those assets before someone dies generates more income, and that generates the amount that they're being taxed, which improves the quality of their schools and their neighborhoods, even the streets that are being paved there. So having a $1 million life insurance policy is more than a personal thing for each Black person. It overall improves the quality of our neighborhoods, our communities, and our ability to support other business owners who look like us. And moving on, a lot of Black people have problems with discussing death. So that is one thing about insurance that scares a lot of Black people, is facing the fact that they're going to die. Everyone is going to die. But the thing is, your death doesn't have to be a financial burden and a tragedy. So a lot of Black people will say, they have insurance through their job, but they don't realize that their job has the bare minimum requirements. And my question to them is, why would you let someone who can fire you in an instant and hire someone else be in charge of your family's future. Your family should have the freedom to grieve peacefully, not be worried about the financial burden that comes from an unexpected or expected death. And discussing death, a Black family is generally unprepared in regular cases of emergency. For example, earlier in this year, 2024, my family had a house fire and we were out of our house for a few months. But thankfully, we had insurance on our house because we were able to move back in a few months ago, but we were underprepared in that process because we had to grab everything we could and get out of the house in less than 2 minutes when the house was on fire. So a lot of families are underprepared in real cases of emergency. Like now we have bags packed inside the house and in the car in case of emergency, but it took a serious situation like that to happen. And I don't want that to continue to happen to the people in our communities. So that is why I am challenging you to talk about insurance with the people you love, and check out the description box to reach me or reach out to another life insurance agent and get your family fully protected. It doesn't have to be $1 million policy, but how would you walk if you knew your life was worth $1 million? In conclusion, Black people should treat themselves as if they are expensive, and take heart knowing that even though everyone dies, their death doesn't have to be a tragedy and a financial burden. Your family can have more Black people who have $1 million life insurance policies, and that helps our community as in general as Black people. But also, more Black people having $1 million life insurance policies will get us the social justice that we need. Why? Because Black lives will matter more when they are valued more. Thank you.